But now I've opened up the mic, you can hear me perfectly. So, Britt, here's the $1,000,000 question. So, I don't understand why Doriane Escan, the girl who is leading the Europa Cup overall standings and is second in the slalom standings, is not here. And also, is the Latvian girl Germaine Zenifera part of Apex? No. But she's not here either. You need to unmute your mic in your spoke. So that's enough. Mission accomplished. And Dorian the same? Okay. And then obviously, am I on talkback? I mean, I'm live. Yeah, I'm live on the mic here. I've just muted my phone.
Yep.
And it's going live green in the left of the screen. So I think we're good to go in a couple of minutes.
Okay.
Hello and welcome to the spectacular Alps of Liechtenstein, a small principality bordered by Switzerland and Austria. But we're here to catch up with the FIS Europa Cup Tour. It's the second series and level of international racing on the tour, and we're going to focus over the next 48 hours on a double slalom at a key point in the season. We reached the halfway point. We've seen 5 races already contested, and this is round 6 of 10 on the Women's Europa Cup Tour. Now, joining myself, Nick Fellows, in the commentary box, courtesy of the Apex Academy in Teen France, is Britt Yannick. Britt, we've got a couple of minutes to go before we have the first racer in the gate in what looks like picture postcard conditions. But as a former racer, former World Cup winner, Olympian, and now very much in control with the youth level of our sport, how important is this Europa Cup series? And give us a little bit of detail on the tour itself.
Yeah, thanks, Nick. It is incredible to be here and to be able to witness this level of ski racing, this Europa Cup event. It was a place where I really gained the confidence to step onto the World Cup. And it took winning at the Europa Cup level for myself to be able to step into that top 30 at the World Cup. So this is going to be very exciting racing here from the women.
Now let's take a look at the jury detail. Hans-Peter Waller is the technical delegate, and the chief of race is Pascal Hassler. I must inform all of our viewers tuning in right now, this is no easy ride at all. We have youngsters chasing the Europa Cup Tour titles, but also the Europa Cup can be used for athletes coming back from injury, heading to the World Cup Tour. Athletes that are lacking perhaps a little bit of confidence and take a step backwards in their quest to get to peak form on the World Cup Tour. Now, we're taking a look at the Europa Cup slalom standings. Very close. Nicole Good is at the top of the standings for the Swiss team. Great to see the bridge racer Charlie Guest, who's coming fresh off the back of podium performances both on the Europa Cup Tour. And let's take a look at some of the athletes. There is Chevrier, who will start with bib number 1. Marion Chevrier, racing with 2 for Italy, is Lorenzi, Lucrezia Lorenzi. Bianca Bacche Vestov wears bib number 3 for Norway. Now, the first 3 races that we've seen on screen have already recorded points on the World Cup Tour, so you're starting to get an indication of the quality of competition that we're going to be focusing on here today. Wearing the yellow bib as the B-Tour leader, there is Nicole Good, and will take some beating over the 2 slaloms. Marie Lemieux, another very exciting new young French skier looking to make a breakthrough. Charlie Guest was on the podium in the last Europa Cup on the Women's Tour, finally finding top gear after struggling with her form and confidence in the early part of the season. Chevrier will get the action underway. Current slalom tour leader, Good, goes with 5. Charlie Guest, for all the British fans tuning in, will go with bib number 7. Then you'll recognise some big names here. Martina Petellini with bib 15. And there are some very low-ranked, and I mean world-ranking points. Andrea Schrocker and Leona Popovic, 2 big stars from the Women's World Cup Tour that have come to this Europa Cup to fine-tune a variety of skills, set up maybe with the equipment, confidence. But it means that this race will be closely contested. Britt, tough to pick a winner, as I'm looking at Jessica Hiltzinger and Estelle Alphon at 38 and 39. It's a clear indication of the quality of competition on the Europa Cup Tour right now.
Absolutely. There's a little bit of a break on the technical circuit on the World Cup. So some of the World Cup athletes are coming to the Europa Cup, like you said, to fine-tune their racing skills, to build confidence. But the Europa Cup leaders, they have the better start number here today, so it's going to be a very tight race.
And of course, those lower-ranked racers don't mind the hot shots coming to the party, because it will make for a minimum penalty, and without confusing people too much, there'll be some big points, world ranking points, up for grabs today.
There sure will be. It'll be very exciting and a key race at this point in the season.
So here we go. This is slalom 6 of 10 to be contested on the 2024 FIS Europa Cup Tour. Marion Chevrier will give us our first real-time check of this first pattern of gates. Now, it's one of the Liechtenstein coaches that has set this first pattern of turns. And We are in the beautiful Liechtenstein winter resort of Malbun, hosting 2 back-to-back women's slalom competitions. Now, if you've never been to this part of the world, you should put it on your bucket list, because this Principality of Liechtenstein that has produced so many great skiers over the years, the Wenzels, Andy Wenzel and Hanni Wenzel. My favourite story for Hanni and Andy is brother and sister won the overall World Cup at the same time in 1980. Then Hanni's daughter, Tina Weirreiter, Marco Buchel. There have been some big stars coming out of these resorts in Liechtenstein on the World Cup Tour. But let's focus on this Women's Europa Cup. And Britt, let's have a look at the tempo for this first run of 2. Chevrier will know. Smooth, clean piste means that she can really dictate her own line and turns. And as we both know, Britt, fast feet, quick moving, dynamic turns are the name of the game in slalom racing.
Yeah, she looks to be well into the rhythm of the course, and she's done a good job with her inspection and then transferring that into a race run. Some turns here as it drops onto a pitch, some good rhythmical turns though, and then that combination right in the middle of the pitch. So really important to adjust your rhythm and tempo there and come out of that combination forward and ready for the next section of gates.
So Chevrier stops the clock and sets the early pace at 44.63 seconds. Let's not forget that this young lady made the top 20 in the World Cup in Flachau, and some nice skiing skills on offer here. Good start for the French racer. You'd think this was a World Cup, wouldn't you? Not just a Europa Cup race. Wonderful start. Lucrezia Lorenzi of Italy. Another lady with World Cup form against her name, but that was on the 2023 tour. Here's a classic example of using the Europa Cup to come back from injury, to sharpen those race skills and regain that confidence to mix it on the World Cup Tour. And as Britt has already told us, there's a break in the Women's World Cup Slalom Tour right now, which gives a lot of opportunity for skiers to use this Europa Cup as a prep for the big tour. Again, lovely tempo, Britt. Nice turns from the Italian.
Yeah, it looks like a really nicely set course. There's some good rhythm changes and some good combinations, so you really need to stay awake and ahead of the course the whole way down. Opening section's a bit flat, but here's the steep pitch that leads into the finish area, and this combination right in the middle of pitch is going to be key and important to carry your speed through these last section of turns and into the finish. Yeah,
it's a real challenge. I like the track very much. I like the dogleg corner that brings them around into the finish area as well. 9/10 off the pace, though, for Lorenzi. Should be a little disappointed to be so far behind Chevrier. It's a double-header, remember. Another slalom tomorrow, live here on FIS TV. So for those skiers that don't find or hit the target today, a second opportunity tomorrow. Chevrier sits in the leader's chair. Let's go to Norway. Bianca Bakke Vestoff, 22 years of age. Now, Bianca's lying third in the slalom standings on the Women's Europa Cup Tour. She'll also be hoping to pick off some big world ranking and lower her FIS points here today. Pressure on the 22-year-old. I think that's fair to say, Britt.
Yeah, it is. These are 2 important days of racing for her to set that pace early in the first run. We'd have 2 runs of racing, so to get herself into the group right there close and in touch with the times in the first run to really charge on the second run.
Piste condition looks nice and firm, but not too icy.
No, it looks like it's holding up well, and with a start list as long as we have, it's really important to have that nice, good surface on the snow for a strong race start to finish.
0.51 off the pace of Chevrier. Britt's already pointed out 2 runs, the name of the game. Add both of those timed runs together, and then the lowest total time will pick up the win, the points, and the prizes. So important to get the timing right on that rolling breakaway terrain. It's where speed can be found. Quickly out on course is the current Slalom Tour leader. No, this is, my apologies, this is Mondinelli of the Italian team. And then we'll see Nicole Good. Mondinelli lying 5th in the current Tour standings.
Found a really good pace on that opening section, good rhythm, looked to be carrying good speed, and now she's into this steeper section, very quick and dynamic from left to right. Well, it'll be interesting to see if she's carried enough speed to the finish line here.
Yeah, good fast feet and dives across to stop the clock. We have a new leader, Emilia Mondinelli of the Italian team, 0.19 of a second. The right side of the clock. Even time to say hi to Mom in the finish area. You've got to appreciate that. But that is good, skillful skiing, Britt.
Yeah, it was excellent. She was really dynamic on the opening turns and the flats. That was a key section to pick up her speed for the lower part of the course.
Now, here is the Slalom Tour leader on the Women's Europa Cup Series for 2024. It is Nicole Good. Nicole is also starting to make some impressive headway on the World Cup Tour as well, with a top 10 in Slalom 5 of the Women's A Tour. So Nicole, who was an emphatic winner in Valle Orina Arntal, Italy, back on the 15th of December. Lovely technique, nice wide open stance, and driving those knees powerfully into the turn.
Yeah, she's really charging this opening section. It's important. It's flatter, and the turns are still there, but it's important to stay ahead of that rhythm to create your own speed and build it into this steep section here. She does that left-footed turn nicely, really moves well with the hips over the feet so she can keep her speed going down the pitch.
Yeah, this is a real tough black run if you're here for a ski vacation. And Good here, the Swiss racers, making it look so easy. Dancing through the closing turns. Let's watch the clock. Ooh, and the race is on. 0.61 off the pace for Nicole. She has work to do on the second leg, but I like the technique, Britt.
Yeah, she skied really well. Just here, we're seeing got a little bit wide and late on the line, and the racer before her skied that so precise, and that's where she got the extra speed.
Here's a chance for the French team to regain the lead with Marie Lemieux. She's out of the French resort of Courchevel. Again, another skier that's got some impressive form on the World Cup. Her PB for the 24 Tour is 11th position in the night slalom of Flachau. Once again, we see how high the quality of competition is on the Europa Cup. And Britt, again, another lady with a lovely style and technique as she goes about her work.
Yeah, you can almost see it as she's skiing down here. It's like a dance from left to right because she's so nicely balanced in the middle of her skis. So she's able to decide exactly when and where she wants to start her turn and stay in the rhythm of the course.
Just getting a little thrown off balance as the rut starts to form. As we said, they've not had the water in the snow here. This is natural snow race, albeit very firm. But there is a small race rut starting to form with every skier taking. But that lovely technique pays dividends for Marie Lemieux, 0.15 of a second. The right side of the clock. Green light, and she goes top of the table, taking the lead from Mondinelli. Chevrier now down to third. It's a lovely style that she's got.
It really is very nice. Even with those few little mistakes on a couple gates in the pitch, but it almost set her into that next gear, and she found some more speed on the bottom.
Now here's the British number one, Charlie Guest. She's had a few issues, health issues in the early part of the season, but I was delighted to see her get back to her podium ways in Zellamzee, third on the 12th of January there. If Charlie can find her A game, she knows that she can mix it with the big names in this race today, and she gets that early tempo and pace. This is on point on the top turns.
Yeah, it's looking good. She's in the rhythm, and she's got a nice flow to her skiing, and that's the speed. We just saw that with Marie Lemieux. She was so balanced and in rhythm, and that's often just a little bit of a switch with confidence. It'd be great to see Charlie get a great result here today and build that confidence so she can bring more rhythm and flow and speed into her skiing.
Yeah, she's a tough Scottish lady, nicknamed the Braveheart, and the Braveheart is in the hunt. Fourth position for Charlie Guest, 0.51 off the pace. She'll need to be a little more confident, is the only criticism from my side, Britt, on the second run. But she's she's got a chance for a second podium of the season, I'd say.
I'd say she does as well. Within half a second off the pace at the moment, that's a good spot going into second run.
Clarisse Brechet for the French team. Next on course, again, Clarisse has made a big breakthrough on the World Cup Tour this season. From start number 69, she skied into 21st position in Courchevel, scoring points in Kranjska Gora and in Jasna. And again, you can clearly see, Britt, that the French women have been focusing on solid technique as their key to success, really, with the short skis on.
Yeah, they sure have, because it's those short turns and the short skis, so important to have that good, strong technical base and good balance over the skis. And as you can see here with Bresh, she has very good rhythm and therefore carrying really good speed across that flatter opening section.
You can see as well how the ruts are starting to form. Each and every skier following the same pathway down the mountain. The sharp edges cut into the snow can make life difficult, but the top-ranked racers are coming later, not earlier in this competition, and Brechet goes into 5th position, 0.71 seconds off the pace. 3 French ladies in the top 5. Strong technique pays dividends.
Yeah, very strong skiing from all of them so far, and it's a tight race at the top.
Well, I'm very happy to report that Charlie Guest holds 4th position. The one and only British racer in this competition. Still some very talented racers to ski. And this is one that I've enjoyed following on the World Cup Tour. It's Lara Della Mia. She's from the Italian resort of Tarvisio that has hosted many World Cups in the years gone by. Now, 24 years of age, 15th, her PB on the Women's World Cup Slalom Tour this season in Killington, Vermont, but it's over.
Yeah, she got tripped up by the combination there. It's a reverse combination, and she went for, here it is, went for that outside gate and then went around the wrong side of the double gate and therefore is disqualified.
I'm disappointed with that, Britt. An experienced racer, just pushing it a little too hard, made a decision error. But still in the leader's chair is Marie Lemieux watching. There's some big skiers still to make their challenge. Now this is race 10. Moa Boström-Musner, Swedish youngster, very talented indeed, but has struggled with injury. She's on the comeback from injury. We've seen her take top 20 results on the World Cup Tour. And at 22 years of age, very successful junior Brit, but just about every one of the top 30 in this race has come back from injury at some point in their careers already.
Yeah, they certainly will have. And this race here at Europa Cup level is so important to build your confidence. And they're just it's a big error because she's made the mistake of not adjusting to the terrain change. And unfortunately, that'll be quite a bit of time lost.
Yeah, it's difficult. You really do need to be ahead of the game. That's one of the key skills in slalom racing. You've got to be 3 or 4 turns ahead, and the terrain change, when it goes from flat to steep, is an area where you need to be fully aware of. Here's the error. She's not got the purchase against the outside turning ski early enough. And once you make a mistake, it's very steep. TV pictures so rarely give us the true angles of the racetrack. But believe you me, this is a tough piste if you ever get the chance to come and ski here in Malbun, Liechtenstein. And it's the end, I would say, of the Swedish skiers' day. Now let's go to Austria. Another talented youngster, Lisa Horhager. World Cup form, 21st position in slalom, 8th of the Women's World Cup in Jasna. Different style to the French girls, Brit, but no shortage of aggression.
No, she's really attacking this opening section, which is that's the tactic you need here on the flats, about creating speed, staying ahead of the rhythm of the course so you can build as much speed as possible until you get to this pitch, this breakover. And she times that well. Oh, and now on the second gate on the pitch, just getting a little bit thrown out of position and out of the racing line.
It's getting a little bit juddery, isn't it? A little bit rutted on that breakaway, where there's, from some of the racers, just a little bit of hesitation, and it's called a double turn they'll make. And Horhager pays the price there. Horhager, I should say, my apologies, where she just gets pitched into the air and then doesn't get there, the pressure against the turn to give her the right direction. Good recovery skills, but she's out of the chase for top position. Marielle Kufas is next on course for the Norwegian B team. Now, I'm interested to take a look at this young lady because it's the first time that I've seen her off the training hill and in Europa Cup competition. That typical Norwegian style, Brit, low hands, but always prepared to push the risk-reward level to the high.
Yeah, she does ski with that Norwegian typical style. Shoulders are low, arms are out low, and she skied the top section very nicely. She had a really good rhythm going with the feet, but unfortunately that's that transition from the flats to the steep, and she just didn't adjust with her timing, and she'll be that's her day done, unfortunately.
Yeah, it gets caught a little too two-footed as well. Caught off balance before the rollover, or breakaway as we call it, from flat to steep. Race over, a DNF, a did not finish for the young Norwegian. Marie Lemieux still leads, watching on. Lilia Lapagna for the USA. So good to see American athletes in this Europa Cup Tour, because over in the USA they have their own version of the B Tour. It's called the NORAM Tour, where the competition quality is just as high as we're seeing today. But anybody can enter the Europa Cup or the NORAMs from any national ski association across the globe. It just gives it a better flavour, doesn't it, to get a couple of Americans in the hunt as well, Britt?
Yeah, it really does. It's exciting because it is that step. You spend so much time in Europe as a North American, and it's important to get that your World Cup experience, but be able to step back and rebuild your confidence on a circuit like the Europa Cup Tour.
And Lilia's coming back from injury. She's building the confidence. She's put World Cup points on the board in the last slalom in Jasna, and 0.98 off the pace, 8th position. I'm sure Lilia's here just to build race confidence. And when you make a little mistake like this, it's having the absolute certainty that you can make the recovery and keep the charge going. And Lapagna getting some valuable experience here today in her comeback from injury. This is the Austria-Swiss racer, my apologies. Selina Egloff, a 21.6 FIS point racer. That's how we decide the world rankings within the International Ski and Snowboard Federation. The best ranked racer is Andrea Schlocker, a World Cup winner with 0.85 points. And that's low points are really giving a buzz to this Europa Cup race, because the point score that is on the cards will be at a minimum, which means Marie Lemieux, if she can win this race ahead of Andrea Schlocker, will have a very, very successful drop in her world ranking. As for Egloff herself, she's 0.77 off at the first split. Good closeout, but 1.7. Now we start to talk about qualification for the second run. Only the top 30 come back. You need to keep it error-free, Britt.
Yeah, you need to keep it air-free and keep that time close. Just missing a little bit of the timing of the course here for Egloff, and a little bit late and low in the line, so too much pressure happening below the gate and not building speed from the gate and into the next turn.
And of course, we shouldn't worry too much about the piste conditions, because top 30 will go in reverse order for the second leg. So if you're quickest after the first run, you're going 30th on the second, which means the way the ruts and bumps are forming, well, you'll need to learn on this first leg. I like the way this lady skis as well, Britt. I've been following her on the Women's World Cup Tour. Martina Petellini, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 World Cup point scores this season, including 3 in the top 15.
Yeah, she really has been skiing incredibly on that World Cup circuit, gaining those points, but it's really about how she stays so nice and balanced over her skis. And then it's that ability to make the decision there. So nice and tight to the gate on that breakover turn, and gets right into the rhythm of these open gates down the pitch.
Yeah, I like the way she keeps her head and shoulders very calm and quiet. And that tells us that both physically and psychologically, she's skiing the way she wants to. She's in control. 9th position, 1.12. I'm not so sure she'll be so happy with the clock, certainly leaving herself a lot to do on the second leg.
Yeah, and as you said, we could be seeing just a slight time gap with the groove that's developing on the course. And but second run, those faster skiers, they're going to have to manage those ruts and grooves that are going to be cut up in the track.
Yeah, part of the game. Now, let's move on to another talented young Italian. Let's take a look at the top 15 results. My apologies. Before we go into Group 2, where it will get very exciting. So please don't go too far away. But it's Marie Lemieux that's at the top of the table after the top 15 skiers, ahead of Mondinelli. For Italy, Marion Chevrier is in third spot. Then Charlie Guest for Great Britain, fourth. Brechet, 5. Nicole Good, the current slalom tour leader on the Women's Europa Cup, is in 6th. Westhoff and Laplania making up the top 8 in this first of 2 runs. There's a lovely shot of Charlie there to the right of the screens, but it's Marie Lemieux that sets the target time, 44.29 seconds. But we've got some big names coming up in this second group, including Andrea Schlocker of Slovenia, Leona Popovic, also yet to ski. Then we've got Elfman Arnesson, former world junior champion, Rosa Pohjolainen of Finland. This first run race is far from over, and I'm so happy to report that we have 3 racers, Schlocker, Popovic, and Elfman Arnesson, with under 10 points, FIS points, as their world rank, making this a very exciting competition indeed. The French girls, first and third. To the left of the screen, Marie Lemieux, carrying bib 6. And to the right, Marion Chevrier. And Norwegian Westhoff. Now, Nicole Good is the lady that leads the standings for slalom. It's Dorian Escan that leads the overall standings on the Women's World Cup Tour, but sadly Dorian is not racing here today. Plenty of fresh snow across the Alps over the past few days. Britt, how are the conditions in Teen right now?
They're fantastic. Excellent for race training, and we've had a lot of sunshine, and I am personally enjoying all the extra winter sun, but I think a little snow's in the forecast, which is will be much needed in the high Alps.
Yeah, winter looks like it's on the way back. So you're with us live here at FIS TV at the Sunrise Europa Cup, a double slalom in Liechtenstein, that beautiful little principality wedged between Switzerland and Austria. We've had the top 15 runners, big start field of over 85 competitors representing 22 national ski associations. This is the B Tour of international ski competition, but a very important and very valuable race for us to follow. It's not the bright lights of the World Cup with huge TV and huge fans, but it's the stepping stone for the athletes themselves. It's where they prepare their skills, rekindle the confidence, maybe change the setup. But it should be very interesting indeed. Now, this is racer 16. It's not Petalini. It is an Italian racer, Beatrice Sola, next on course. Just 20 years of age. Beatrice, a very strong junior, starting to make her play to upgrade to the World Cup. But it all starts here at the Europa Cup Tour. Very inviting turns on the upper section, but the steep and make or break play happens from here on in.
Yeah, it really does. She was quick and aggressive on that opening section. Just a few little errors, and at the interval finds herself 8/10 off the pace. So can she pull back a little bit here on the lower part as she drives for the line to this last combination?
1 minute, 1 second, 0.06 off the pace. Goes into the top 10. Beatrice Sola goes into 9th position. But over a second down. I'm watching the piste, Brit, very carefully. A lot of them are not getting the setup to this rollover and breakaway on point, and it's really starting to bump it and rut the track quite badly. Ondrine Marstuhl, talented young Norwegian racer, next on course. She's had a top 10 form on the Women's World Cup Tour. Night slalom of Flacco, she was 10th. Coming back from injury, Ondrine. But if she can find that kind of form that brought her that top 10 results on the World Cup Tour, she could smash this Europa Cup quite easily.
Yeah, good opening turns here. It's so important on this opening section to get into the rhythm of the course and build speed. This is the easier section of the course where it's flatter, and then prepare yourself. It's a combination that's set right before that breakover. So they're hitting on that left ski quite hard, but she manages that well and gets right back into the rhythm of the course.
Yeah, this is confident work from the Norwegian. 0.83 off at the first split. Now let's watch the closeout here. It's very straight and inviting to the line. 1.14 off the pace. Ondrin goes into 11th position. Vestov is the quickest of the Norwegians so far. Bianca Backe lying 7th. Elsa Fernbeck. Another lady that has enjoyed great success before having to come out of international competition due to an ACL injury. Top 20 results on the 21 and 22 World Cup slalom tours. 28th in the Olympic Games of 2022. But Britt missed the whole of 23 due to injury. You know, as many athletes know, that road to recovery from injury can be tough and lonely sometimes.
Yeah, it certainly can, because it's a lot of time doing those rehab sessions and then learning to ski again almost and rebuild that strength and confidence on your skis. So it's great to see her back and racing. Just a slight error that we saw on the opening, kind of that opening turn into the pitch. That will have cost her some time at the bottom here.
1.24 seconds off the pace of our French leader. Fernbeck in the chase, 12th position. And there you see again that slow-mo replay. That is definitely the toughest turn. You've got to get that left ski down in contact with the snow as early as you can to press edge and turn. Look how the recovery skills are being tested to the full, but you're losing speed as well. Here we go with the big favourite. It is so good to see the World Cup superstar Andrea Schlocker in this Europa Cup race. She's been in the top 10 twice this season. She's a World Cup winner, 5th in the Olympic slalom, and she really is powering her way. Lovely tempo and timing on the opening turns.
Yeah, you can really see that dance from left to right. She's really in the rhythm, and you can also see the speed that she's creating from one turn to the next. And there, as she drops over into the steep pitch, she's right on that red gate and able to decide when she drops into the next turn.
Few errors in the closeout, just lost the rhythm, but it's the speed of recovery from Andrea that shows that the Slovenians are class act. 0.34 off the pace. Andrea Schlocker will need to earn her victory here. She's a former World Europa Cup slalom champion. There's the mistake, Britt, but it's the speed of recovery that's so impressive.
It is. That's slalom. How quickly can you recover? You know that those errors, they'll likely be there, but can you make that quick recovery and get right back into the rhythm of the course?
So good to see Andrea here, fine-tuning her skills, and it is so good to see this Croatian star in the making, Leona Popovic, out on course. 26 years of age, on the podium on the Women's World Cup Tour in Levy, second round of the tour. Struggling a little bit with her confidence in the last few races, but Leona is a class act, Britt, there's no question.
Yeah, she's such an exciting racer and so good on and dynamic on her skis. She looks to be carrying excellent speed here at the top. She's slightly ahead at the first interval, so this is the fastest we've seen in quite a while since Lemur came down.
This is lovely work. She's a long-levered, tall young lady and uses those long levers beautifully to arc that turn from gate to gate. Look at Popovic go through the gears on the closeout here. Surely the new leader by 0.26 of a second. Croatia's Leona Popovic shows the rising stars of the Europa Cup Tour how it's done. Taking a quarter of a second out of Marie Lemieux. Couple of small errors, but so dynamic, Britt.
Yeah, even the few errors didn't phase her, and then it was that sense of urgency almost in her swing. She knew how much of a sprint it was that she had to keep charging from the first gate right to the last gate.
Fearless, I would say, as well. Really no concerns over that steep pitch. Beautiful ski, and we have a new leader, Croatia's Leona Popovic, setting the target time at 44.03 seconds for the first of the two runs. Another former world junior champion. This is Hannah Elfman Aronson.
It gets right into the rhythm up here in the top section, and she can bring that form from the World Cup and bring that confidence here onto the Europa Cup. And she will certainly be looking to get into the top 3, top 5, and be really close to the time that was just set.
Yeah, she's right on point here. 3 top 20 results on the women's World Cup slalom tour. Oh, but there's the straddle. All over for the Swede. Just cuts it a millimetre too fine in her quest to find a little bit extra in the finishing turns. Let's have a look at the slow-mo on that one, Britt.
Yeah, so she comes quick out of the combination and is getting right back into the rhythm of these gates, and then just cuts that blue gate is just on a slight angle, and the inside ski catches the gate.
Eileen Hoepli for Switzerland wears bib number 22. Now, Hoepli will know, like most of the ladies in today's competition, that there's a big point score up for grabs with Leona Popovic currently leading. Lamure is second. Mondinelli of Italy is third. Andrea Schlocker is trying for fourth with Marion Chevrier. This is going to be a fascinating second run at lunchtime today. And the piste is holding well. There's 1 or 2 gates that are a little cut and rutted, but the majority of the piste is just a nice flowing and technical test. Let's watch the clock carefully here. Hoepli, 14th position, 1.41 off the pace. She'll be happy with that.
Yeah, that was a good, strong ski, confident and fluid on the top part, and just did what she had to do on the bottom section to carry her speed.
Here's another talent, Brit, to watch very carefully. It's Rosa Pohjolainen, Finnish skier, still a teenager at 18, coming 19 years of age. Fresh off the back of some good results on the World Cup Tour a couple of years ago. Now working her way through injury, but the skills are coming, and they're coming back very quickly.
Yeah, really nice and balanced here on her skis. Just a slight error on the left foot as she moved into the combination above and across the flats. A little error like that will cost you some time, but now in the steep section, it's about finding that rhythm and trying to stay ahead of the course to really carry speed out onto the finishing flat section.
Yeah, a lot of people believe this young lady's the new Tanja Puutiainen, Finland's last Women's World Cup winner. 2.01 off the pace for Rosa. She'll watch that time carefully just to make sure that she's on track for the top 30 in a guaranteed qualification for the second run. Caitlin McFarlane, another young lady with a very interesting story to tell, but perhaps most importantly, scoring her first World Cup points this season out of the French system, but with Australian parents, I think is correct for McFarlane. And again, that very tall, accurate, but skillful technique that a lot of the French girls are using these days on tour.
Yeah, and there's that transition out of the combination into the breakover, into the steep. She just gets thrown a little bit wide on the gate, but does well to recover and get right back into the rhythm of the course.
Very fast feet in the closeout from Caitlin. Another skier that I believe is ready to make the breakthrough on the Women's World Cup Tour. Good result here today will help that confidence. But McFarlane, she'll be a little disappointed to be down in 17th position. Let's go to the Swiss team. Anouk Brendli. And the Swiss girls haven't had to travel far at all. As many of you know, Liechtenstein bordering both Austria and Switzerland. With some spectacular Alps and resorts here. Capital of Liechtenstein, Vaduz. My research this morning was telling me they have over 32 mountains with altitude in excess of 2,000 meters, but it's all over. Oh, Anouk will be disappointed with that. Had a little stumble on the upper part of the challenge, and then the stumble on the second. Couldn't make the recovery.
Yeah, that was unfortunate because she stayed in the course up above and managed to, as you said, recover and get back in the rhythm.
Let's stay with the Swiss. This is Janine Meichler. Very successful junior with a silver medal at the 2023 World Juniors. Ooh, she's living dangerously here. Look at the
Yeah, you
footwork.
can see it, the arms getting a little bit wild and going all over the place, but the feet still trying to do what they need to do as best as they can. But if the arms take away from the action that the feet can do, from the pressure that you can build on the skis, then that's just going to not allow you to create speed as well as you can. Well, it looks like they're just fixing a few things at the start gate, making sure everything's in order for the race to continue. And what it does is give the course workers a chance to clean up the track. But it looks like the groove, we've had a groove set and then it's holding well. So there is a little bit of a groove, a track by the gate, but it's not getting deeper or rougher at the moment. So that means the racers can really set their ski in that groove at the top of the turn and commit and drive through the turn with good trust and confidence. We'll just have a quick look at the standings here. It's Leona Popovic at the top. It's that excellent World Cup form. And for the rest of the racers who are here and race the Europa Cup week in, week out, it's a good chance for them to see how they match up, how they fare against some of these other athletes, these other racers that have good World Cup form.
Thank you, Britt. And technical issue solved on my side. Many thanks for stepping in there. The World Cup form guide right on point here in Malbun, Liechtenstein. Popovic, one of the top-ranked racers in the world, at the top of the table. Brilliant skiing from Leona, as we expected. So good to see one of the major players of the Women's World Cup circuit take a step back. And as we explained at the top of our show here, live on FIS TV, there are many reasons why the big stars enjoy most often going back to the Europa Cup Tour, primarily due to the fact that there's a little less pressure. New things can be tested, whether Popovic is working on skis or coming back from a little injury. The whole process is used as positively as possible. And Popovic, for me, from start number 20, so dealing with some of the rougher conditions, has really excelled to take top position with a time of 44.03. Now, looking down the start field, there's still a couple, 2 or 3 established World Cup racers, including Marta Rossetti of Italy, Cornelia Uland of Sweden. And Uland, still a junior, of course. Cornelia, bronze medalist in the recent World Juniors in the Porte du Soleil in the women's slalom. Estelle Alphon, another skier. Those skiers are starting Rossetti, 36, Uland at 37, Jessica Hiltzinger at 38. The race is on hold while there's a few adjustments made to the timing mechanism. I think it's right at the top of the race piste where the wand has been replaced, and then they'll have to go through a routine of checking that everything is working again. Maybe we'll need to see a forerunner as well. Britt, quick question for you. You've been caught in these race holds many times in your career. It's a bit of a test of the nerves as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is a test of the nerves. And it's amazing how sometimes you just don't even notice the hold because you're so focused on what you need to do. I think that's key, is to stay focused on what is within your control and what you can manage. And that's really how it goes. And yeah, ignore the rest and just take a little more time to warm up the legs, warm up your body, rehearse the course.
Okay, we're back with the racing, starting with bib 27. Emily Henning is next on course. 22.52 Europa, her FIS point ranking. So again, for Emily, there's a real chance to pick up a point score is the term that the racers use. Picking up a point score means that you're lowering your world rank. But that gate, once again, is becoming the bogey turn of this first of the two runs in the slalom. And Emily there scrubbing off a lot of the pace and tempo to the performance. Stops the clock at 46.65 seconds. That's 2.62 seconds behind our current leader from Croatia, Leona Popovic. Getting pitched light, losing the purchase on the turning ski on that all-important rollover and breakaway. They're going to start coming very quickly now, Britt, because we need to get through 85 races on this first run with time to start the second run at 1 p.m. local time. Elena Stoffel of Switzerland is out on course. Here's a lady again with 3 World Cup point score against her name on the tour. And we can see she's bringing that confidence from the World Cup to this Europa Cup race today.
Yeah, manages that upper flat section well and then quick into that transition on the steeps. About being precise to the gates, but keeping that purchase, getting the grip on the ski early in the turn, so you can release from the gate and move into the next turn with smooth speed.
So here's a classic example of a World Cup racer coming back to the B Series to try and use this competition to fine-tune heading into the Women's World Cup Tour. And Leona Popovic will not have to wait much longer after bib number 30 before she'll be released from the leader's chair. Laurine Luan-Moulin, or Moulin-Luan, I think is the right way round of the surname. What I'm really liking here as well, Britt, is the French tech squad have been struggling on the Women's World Cup Tour. I'm sure everybody would agree. But what they've done is they've gone back to their juniors, gone back to their FIS skiers, and starting to show some real strength in depth with their B squad.
Yeah, you can really see it. They're all coming out. There's some confidence on their skis, a really good, strong technical base, and they're feeding one off the other. One has a good performance, the other one does, and that team environment really starts to create a momentum.
Yeah, that's very good words with 3 French racers currently in the top 10, and their fastest, Marie Lemieux, holding second spot. 1.77 for Laurine off the pace, puts her in 20th position. Again, this becomes the difficult part of the race piece now, with the race line being followed by many. This is Zita Tot, Hungarian racer that's already started to make some very good headway on the Europa Cup Tour this season.
Yeah, moving nicely through this opening section, getting a little bit out of position. You can see it. It's ever so subtle, but on this flat section of the course, really important to stay balanced over the skis without those little errors to create as much speed as you can into the steep section.
Good technique, good confidence work here. And what I like to see is that she's still charging as well. Good close out, 1.9 off the pace. Tot goes into 21st position. And it's good to see the smaller ski associations represented on this B Tour as well. with the errors all coming at the same series of turns and gates, I would say that that rollover and onto the steep pitch is becoming the most difficult section on course at the moment. But after 30 ranked races, it's pretty much going the way the form guide predicted. Leona Popovic, one of the stars of the Women's World Cup Tour, coming back to this Europa Cup race to fine-tune her setup and skills for the next stop on the Women's World Cup Tour, tops the table. I'm not sure that anybody out there can better that. I'd love to be proved wrong, of course. 44.03. Marie Lemieux Mondinelli taking positions 2 and 3. Andrea Schlocker will look for a second run charge, 6/10 off the pace in joint 4th position with Marion Chevrier. Charlie Guest for the British ski team is in 6th place. Brechet 7. And the current slalom tour leader from Switzerland, Nicole Good, just like Andrea Schlocker, will be looking for a second run charge. Nicole has already won on the Women's Europa Cup Tour this season and has been placed on the podium a further 2 times as well. But let's take a look at the top 3 in reverse order. Emilia Mondinelli lies in 3rd position. Marie Lemieux, beautiful technique, nice, light, quick and dynamic style, has Marie in 2nd position. But it was a class performance, as we were hoping for and many expected, from Leona Popovic. Strong, powerful, controlled and skillful skiing, no question. Deserved leader, I would say. Let's keep flowing on with the race now. This is Michaela Smythe from the New Zealand ski team. Of course, Niels Koberger, the head coach for Team New Zealand, enjoying some real success with Alice Robinson. And Britt, it's so often the case, isn't it, for the smaller national ski associations. If you've got one skier that makes the breakthrough, all of a sudden the youngsters below believe they can do it. Sadly, for the young Kiwi here, Michaela, it's a DNF. But it's amazing how success from one can boost the others.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's an unfortunate DNF because she was skiing well above, just a couple little errors. But if one person from your nation, those smaller nations, can give you the belief that you can, and you see your teammates and start to have success on the top of the tour at that World Cup level, that belief starts to grow.
Yeah, she's a teenager. She's a youngster. A long way to go, but following in the footsteps of Alice Robinson and Niels Koberger. I'm a big fan of Niels as a coach. He's learned a hell of a lot about sports coaching, working with the All Blacks rugby team over in New Zealand. We're so glad to have him back in winter sports, working wonders with Alice, and it won't be long before Smythe from New Zealand also joins Alice Robinson. Let's go to Switzerland, starting with bib number 32. This is Lorena Zelga.
Yeah, in this opening section, it's all about getting into the rhythm of the course and getting the timing underfoot. So it's remembering what you saw in inspection and then taking that and transferring it into the feet, into the skis, to create speed across this flat section at the top of the track.
Well, the course for me is still holding up well. There's a golden opportunity for some of these later start numbers to break in to the top flight. As we explained at the top of our show, very similar, not identical, but similar rules on the Europa Cup circuit that we see on the World Cup. Perhaps the most important rule of the day is the top 30 qualify for the second run, and they start that second run in reverse order. Moa Landström for Sweden wears 33, another teenager, showing the strength and depth of the Swedish tech squad. She's got a little bit of the skiing skills and traits of Anna Sven Larsson there as well, with the arm carriage and the loading of the turning ski.
Yeah, really moving nicely across the end of the flat section. Had a little bit of trouble just coming to the combination above. Let's see how she manages here as it breaks over. She was quick through the combination, just getting a little bit late and low on these gates here on the top of the pitch.
Oh, she doesn't like that rut, particularly on the right foot. But she's made it to the bottom after a couple of close calls. But 2.78 off the pace now, 27th position. I'm not sure whether that will be good enough to qualify for the second leg. Leonie Reich, is this a relation to the great Benny Reich and Marlies Schilt? I'm not sure whether it's their daughter or not, can't be. But another very talented racer. Now this young lady just loading the ski brick that little bit earlier to work with the rut rather than fight against it, which was the problem for Moa Landström before her.
Yeah, I don't think it's a big rut that's forming, but there is a rut there, so it's really important to make that mental note, to use it to your advantage instead of trying to work against it, and it'll cause you to get late and low on the line. So she's managing the rut and working with it very nicely.
28th position. Anaine, a skier that will watch the times very carefully. Good to see Liechtenstein with a skier in the top part of the start list here. This is Charlotte Ling. Charlotte Ling was 29th in the World Cup slalom in Levy. Those were the first two races of the Women's World Cup Tour for 2024, but hasn't been able to match that. So again, big result. Lots of home support, understandably, for Charlotte today. Will hopefully boost her confidence going back to the Women's World Cup Tour, but she too gets it wrong on the pitch.
Oh yeah, that was an unfortunate error, but she did well to recover. Now it's just a matter of seeing how much time that has cost her and getting right back into the rhythm. A couple of quick turns left.
23rd. I think keeping it under 2 seconds now off the pace of our current leader, Leona Popovic of Croatia, has got to be the target. And Charlotte here, skillful, good balance to get herself out of trouble, holds her posture well, but it's got to be error-free if you want to chase down the top 15 here today. Interesting to see Marta Rossetti back at the Europa Cup Tour. How many of you remember this young lady? 5th position in the Women's World Cup Slalom in Killington, Vermont. But it's how the world rank point system work. Rossetti, still a 12-point racer, not under 10 points. Doesn't start in the top flight, but there is no question she's got a really nice soft touch underfoot, Britt.
Yeah, she really does. Created really good speed across the flats. Just a slight error, she came into the steeps, but you can see how skillful she is. She makes a really quick recovery, and she's right back into the rhythm, but she's also staying very aggressive on the front of the ski. She knows that she's lost a touch of time and needs to get it back.
2.55. That will be very disappointing for Marta Rossetti. Pays a painful price for the errors further up the mountain. Another clear example that it must be clean, it must be error-free. And Rossetti with top 5 performance against her name on the World Cup will not be happy with that at all. Another very talented youngster, still a teenager, Cornelia Uland from Sweden. She's got 5 World Cup point scores against her name this season, and a bronze medal from the World Juniors in the Porte du Soleil earlier last month.
You can really see the confidence in her skiing in these opening sections. She's risking. Oh, and there's the error into the steep pitch. She was going so well above and just didn't make that adjustment from the flats to the steep. And again, that left-footed group catches out another one.
That's a big disappointment for Cornelia. Again, the hip gets thrown out as well, which means the pressure on the outside ski comes that split second too late. Oh, lack of experience for the teenager there. Another skier that we've been enjoying on the Women's World Cup Tour, Jessica Hiltzinger, following in the footsteps of Lena Dürr, Germany's top World Cup slalom skier this season. 20th her PB on the Women's World Cup Tour. If you can go top 20 on the World Cup, they say you should be winning in Europa Cup, but Hiltzinger is having to deal with a slightly rutted course, which forces you to make a slightly rounder turn. Therefore, you're taking a slower route down the mountain.
Yeah, you are, and it's a route you can't avoid but to take it because that groove's there. So it's just a matter of changing your tactics a little bit as the ski snow contact changes.
Again, Hiltzinger will need to watch that time carefully to see if she's done enough to make the top 30. A long way to go. Estelle Alphon, the daughter of the great Luc Alphon, 12 World Cup wins, the overall World Cup champion in 97, 3 times the downhill champion. It's got to be tough going to Sunday lunch with a dad like that, hasn't it, really? What do you say when you've just had an average day in the office on the World Cup Tour? But Estelle has a PB of 16th on World Cup Slalom this season and also top 20 in Giant Slalom.
Yeah, moving nicely here across the flats. Oh, just gets caught again on that gate. Not making that adjustment. It's the adjustment from flat to steep, but also your timing needs to change because you need to pick up the grip on the outside ski a little bit earlier so you don't lose contact on the snow.
Yeah, that's disappointing for Estelle. Her brothers, Nils and Sam, starting to find good form on the men's World Cup Tour as well. Kristen wears bib 40 for the Swiss team. We now start to step out of the names from the World Cup, and a lot of these youngsters now, Britt, are skiers coming up from the FIS level, and it's a level that you're very much involved with these days at the Apex Academy as the head of admissions. For many of these young ladies, it's a really big day when you're on the Europa Cup Tour.
Yeah, it really is. Unfortunately, another DNF in that exact same spot. It's the tricky combination that's been set. And yeah, making that step from FIS up to the Europa Cup level, the intensity changes, which is why it's so important to have these different levels, these different tours to help you make that step from one to the next and then eventually onto the World Cup.
And if you're just joining us live here on FIS TV, we are at the Women's Europa Cup Tour in Malbun, Liechtenstein. It's round 6 of 10 on the slalom circuit for 2024. And a couple of the big stars from the World Cup have been out on piste earlier today. If you've missed them, be sure to rejoin us at 1 p.m. local time here in Liechtenstein for the second leg. Leona Popovic of Croatia is at the top of the table ahead of Marie Lemieux, Emilia Mondinelli, Andrea Schlocker and Chevrier tying for 4th position. This is Thorsen for Norway next on course. Anine Thorsen, 1.46 off the pace. You really need to keep it under 2 seconds from Leona Popovic's target time of 44.03 to guarantee a qualification on the second leg. And 3.06 takes Thorsen into 31st position. And game over, day done. It's a brutal rule when there's such a big start list, but it certainly makes for a very exciting second leg. Luisa Mangold of Germany is next on course, another 22-point ranked racer. Nice technique, good balance, working with the rut, not fighting against it, and bringing a good pace and tempo to the performance here.
Yeah, excellent work on that opening section, but it's this transition to the steep. Oh, and she gets the first gate, but it's the second red gate that she misses the timing and loses the grip. Unfortunately, that's going to be a DNF for Luisa.
Let's go back to the top of the race piste. Now this is Maria Niedendorfer for the Austrian team. This is the Nachtstrasse piste if you're thinking of heading to Malbun to come and have a ski. It's a black run, takes you right into the village. Perfect for a Europa Cup slalom. And Niedendorfer, very tall young lady, long-levered, similar
with 1 second.
physique to Leona Popovic, but it's the ruts that seem to be causing the problems. And Britt, I think it's fair to say, isn't it, with the ski technique, you need to be a little softer in the ankles to be able to absorb the terrain. We see Niedendorfer here getting just pitched into the air. Niedendorfer, 34th position, 3.7 off the pace. Not enough to qualify for the second run or the top 30 in the second run. Swedish racer Liv Sida next on course. Liv carrying bib number 44.
Good dynamic skiing on these opening turns. Oh, a little error there, which was unfortunate because she was really charging out of the gate. And yeah, as you said, Nick, with these rougher conditions, it really is about not hitting with the edges too hard, having that feel and that almost relaxed position on the ankles. Oh, and there's another error as she transitioned, made that move from the flats to steeps, but doesn't adapt with the timing and the terrain change.
Difficult. That's going to be the make or break for many of these later start numbers now. Let's go to Natalie Falch for the Austrian team. I say the Austrian team, it's an individual sport. They train, travel, and stay together, but it's just the skier, the piste, and the clock that is the name of the game, particularly in slalom.
And these later starters that are going now will have had some time to think about the course. Their inspection was probably a good 2 hours ago, so it's about finding that balance of staying ready, race ready, but staying a bit relaxed, not using up too much energy, so that when you go out of the gate, when it's time to go, you're fired and ready to go with as much speed as possible.
It's almost like another skill set, isn't it? Working with the ruts and the bumps. 2.0, oh, that's such a shame for Natalie. Just missing top 30 qualification by a few hundredths of a second. But that's a positive performance, I would say, from Natalie Falch of Austria. Relative newcomer to Europa Cup competition. Popovic now has surely recorded the fastest time for the first run. A quarter of a second plus ahead of Marie Lemieux. Mondinelli will be delighted, on track for a PB. The Italian lying in third position. Watch out for a second run charge from Andrea Schlocker, another World Cup star competing in this Europa Cup race today. Marion Chevrier. And then Britain's Charlie Guest looking for another top performance to boost her confidence before the Women's World Cup continues. And top 30 qualify for the second leg. Right now, 2.78 seconds off the pace is the target time for skiers from 46 to 85. But no question, first run of this Women's Europa Cup slalom in Malbun, Liechtenstein, has been stamped with authority by Croatia's Leona Popovic with some truly skillful skiing. Let's identify them one more time. Emilia Mondinelli. Look at even the fastest skiers struggling on this breakaway. It's a great point to show the replay from our director. But Leona Popovic was the class act of the first run. Look at the technique, the balance, the style and skill. She really has got it. And I'm delighted to see Leona hold first position after the first leg. Top 30 will go in reverse order on the second leg, and it will be a slightly more bumpy ride for Popovic, who's now headed away from the finish area and gone to prepare for that second leg. Andorra are next on course. Ruf Milharies, I think that's the correct pronunciation. That's been a big breakthrough for both female and male skiers from the Andorran Ski Federation. All of those brilliant World Cup races in Soldeo paying dividends for their athletes as well. And this young lady, so far so good. 1.45, there's the first. Big mistake, but skillful recovery.
That really was an excellent recovery. It's not easy. You can see she tried to adapt with the train change and get her ski in the rut on the first red gate into the pitch, but it was the second red gate with the recovery and the error.
She's qualified. 2.37 off the pace. 28th position. Well done, Carla. Now, we're going to have 2 or 3 on the course at once. This is going to be interesting for us, Britt, I have to say. Julia Flatscher is next on course, another Austrian. We're so used to seeing strength in depth in the Austrian squads. It's their national sport. It's bigger than soccer, bigger than the rock and roll business, ski racing in Austria. So we expect to see a lot of performers, even though Julia's picked up a DNF. Now this is Axel Molin, Belgium racer. That misses the cut. And then the graphics get a little confused. Valentina Furtscheller is next on course, I believe. This is racer 49. No, this is Moulin. My apologies. 48.
Oh, and she's just struggling there. I think we're going to see errors. It's about how quickly can you recover from those errors on those gates in the pitch for these later starters, because that rut is developing more and more. It's getting cut a little bit deeper, so it's harder to keep that fast racing line.
Okay, in the right of your screens, you can see Furtscheller. Molin misses the cut, 37th position, 4.03 off the pace. Now we're into Valentina Furtscheller. Austrian skier. Nice rhythm, nice tempo here in the opening turns. She's 1.8 off the pace at the first split. Good tactic on that difficult breakaway from the Austrian.
Yeah, very nice and smooth, adjusts with the tactics, and then she can get right back into the rhythm. Quick through that combination. And now she's got the finish in sight. Can she stay quick with the feet for this final combination and carry her speed to the line?
Furtscheller just misses the qualification. We'll quickly now switch to Ambra Pomere. Italian racer, youngster, looking to make a breakthrough here. Looking strong on these opening turns. Confidence to go with it, 1.27 off the pace. Not bad at all.
Good transition, good tactics on the steeper section. Very tight to the gate with the feet. And that's allowing her to keep good speed through this rut. Oh, just has to stand on the ski a little bit longer as she bends around the corner to the finish.
That's tough for the Italian youngster, 2.84, just missing the qualification. Target time for qualification with Emily Henning lying in 30th spot is 46.65 seconds, or 2.62 behind our current leader, Leona Popovic. Meyer, French skier, out on course. Garance, I think, is the way you pronounce her Christian name. And then you see in the right of your screen, Fischer of Germany is already out on track as well. It's quite common to see two, and in FIS races, sometimes three racers on the piste at the same time, just so the race organisers can hit the schedule. Now that looks to be the German racer, I think, that's taken a DNF there, Fischer. And that looks to be Annette Belfront out of Courmayeur in the Italian Alps, carrying bib number 53. It brings back great memories for me as a very old ski racer, Brit, but starting at the back of the field, knowing how deep those ruts are. I remember racing in the Norams as a youngster, and you could just see my head and shoulders going around each turn and each gate. It's such a characteristic part of making your way up the world ranking as a junior skier.
Yeah, it really is. I was remembering myself of a slalom race where I started bib 85. I think we have 85 on the start list today, and it was a bit of a bobsled track on my way down, and I had a coach that liked to call that character building.
Yeah, same here. I think I didn't think it was funny at the time, but now it brings back so many fond memories. 85 would have been an absolute gift for me. I'm talking 125. Yeah, let's talk about your ski racing career, not mine. I think this is Francesca Caroli on course now for Italy. 2.92. As we said right at the top of the show, we predicted quite well here. Under 3 seconds is what the target is now to try and qualify for that second leg. And as we explained after the first 15, as that rut deepens and develops through each and every skier following the same racing line, it forces you to make a rounder, therefore a slightly slower turn. 41st position for Caroli. Francesca, unfortunately, not qualifying for the second win. Varoshitz of Austria is next out on track.
And it's really those racers with the earlier start numbers of the clean track. They can afford to make a few errors because they're not fighting a groove. They can recover it and maintain their speed. But as we move down the field and the rut starts to form, those errors will be more costly, and the recoveries that stack up will cost more time.
And that's why we call it chasing the points in ski racing. The lower your points, it means the lower your world ranking, and the better piste conditions you will get for your races. And then, of course, you go into the top seed on World Cup, and then the top seed are drawn. But it's part of the chase for the youngsters to lower that world ranking to improve their starting position. It's why it's very interesting watching these Europa Cup races. But of course, what happens, and I remember this very well as a former slalom racer, is that you spend so much time developing your rut technique that then you get to the big league and it's like an ice rink on a slope. And then you're thinking, hang on a minute, I haven't prepared for this sort of watered Balkan bar style of approach of slalom racing. So it's all part of the learning curve, Britt, that you know so well, from going to a slalom skier to a World Cup winner in downhill.
Yeah, it really is. I always found that's the beauty of alpine skiing. It's an outdoor sport. The elements are always changing. Your skills are always having to adapt and modify for the environment that's in front of you, whether it's an event that's different, the slalom, giant slalom, downhill, super G, or is it just the conditions that are in front of you? And then you throw in that your start number can change, and conditions will change from the first racer until to the last.
Yeah. Now Valentina Ringsvarna for the Austrian team. Also, we've got a Dutch skier, I believe, out on track just behind her now. 2.73, that's very tough for Valentina, safely in the finish area. She just misses the qualification cutoff, and it's a DNF for the Dutch racer Noah Block, I believe is the pronunciation there, which means we'll move on to racer 59, Annabelle Jala. What happens with the ruts as well, which is the big topic of discussion, is that they force you slightly lower in the racing line. And there's very little room to make the recovery once an error is made. Annabelle Jala is next on course, wearing bib number 59 for the French team.
Yeah, she's very smooth and aggressive on these opening turns. It's about setting that edge early in the turn, picking up the groove, and then be able to commit and drive through the whole turn. She's moving very nicely. Really good rhythm with the feet.
Yep, you can clearly see that the coach has worked very hard on the basic skills and drills that a racer needs to work on as part of their training. This is good skiing from Annabelle right now. Has she done enough to make the cut? Oh, Annabelle Jallet. 42nd position, 3.32 seconds behind Leona Popovic. That looks like a DNF for Laura Klein of Germany. She almost went down on the inside ski on the gate before. Not enough time to make the recovery. Marie Bogner next on course. Another German youngster, just under 25 FIS points against her name. Oh, she too, a DNF. Now, of course, these skiers with the higher points and the higher world rank struggling with these conditions. 62 is Koskinen from Finland. Silja Koskinen looking to qualify into the top 30. Let's just see. It's Marta Rossetti now in 30th position. You need to be under 2.5 seconds off the pace. Britt, that's a tough call with this rut starting to force the skiers to make that slightly rounder turn.
Well, and it's just clearly showing the depth of this field and the strength of this field. That's a very tight time gap within the top 30. And also the strength of the Europa Cup circuit, that a good result here and top finishes here can really give you the confidence to step onto the World Cup Tour and take some good results.
He's getting a little ragged in the closeout here. Koskinen. Watch the clock carefully. 43rd position. Up in the right of your screens now, into full picture, is Lisa. No, my apologies. This is Elina Lipp, who is a DNF for the German team. See the replay here again. Yeah. Just getting compressed with the upper body, unable to then load the ski for the next turn. Here's Lisa Backlund now. Swedish coaches think a lot of this young lady. Oh, she's struggling here as well, getting lower and later, almost scrubbing off all of the pace and speed. Not liking the bumpy, rutted course.
Yeah, and you can just see those airs. It's the pace, how quickly she recovers, and the speed and the tempo of her rhythm really slowed down and didn't adapt, didn't quicken to the pace of the course. And here, a few more airs in the steeps, and just one too many, having too much trouble, and that's a DNF for the Swedish racer.
Another youngster from Sweden. 17 years of age. This is Astrid Hedin. And I like it when they bring the youngsters to the Europa Cup. It really shows you the quality and the skill level of this tour. I don't know about you, but when I first went to the Europa Cup as a youngster, I could not believe how good the rest of the world were from a skiing perspective. And I stood there for about an hour on the side of the piste just watching skier after skier how amazing they were. It's quite a big step up, isn't it, really, from FIS level to the Europa Cup Tour.
Yeah, it is, and it's important to have that moment where you realize maybe you've been fast at the FIS level and you step into the Europa Cup and all of a sudden it's a totally different level, and then you have to figure it out once again, learn how to go a bit faster and make those steps forward. Yeah,
a little bit of extra pressure as well because they're live on FIS TV here today. Here's Kim van Roozel from the Belgium National Ski Association. She's been around for a while, Kim. She's got good experience. I remember watching her take 30th position in the downhill at the 2018 Winter Olympic Games in Pyeongchang. And that's one thing that hopefully is on Kim's side here. And she's obviously looking to try and score a few slalom points as well. She's a good speed skier.
Yeah, and here again with her, we can see that the rut's pushing her around, so it's that fight. Can you grit your teeth and stay in the track? Keep those recoveries coming one after the other to keep the speed going.
She's made it. We've got one in the top 30. Kim van Roozel, experience on her side, as we pointed out, cracks the top 30 and books herself a second run in style. Delighted to see that. This is Ina Haugland for Norway next on course. That performance from bib number 66 before the young Norwegian that we're watching right now, Britt, very important. Sends a message to the top of the mountain that you still can qualify.
Yeah, and the coaches will be on the radio. That's an important message. And the coaches on the course, they can deliver that to the start and add that belief and confidence to the races still to come.
4.32. It's got to be under 2.5 seconds, remember, if you're to qualify for that top 30. Let's go to the German team. This is Charlotte Grandinger. Another teenager enjoying her first year racing at Europa Cup level. It's all about the learning experience as you prepare yourself for the bright lights of World Cup competition.
Yeah, she's managing these turns well. It's that rhythm. Slalom is so much about rhythm and getting the grip on the ski early enough to release and then staying with that timing the whole way down.
He misses the qualification. Top 30 is the target. Quickly back up on track to Nika Tomsic of Slovenia. Now, Nika with a good split time there, just 1.75 off the pace. fails to get that accurate purchase on the turning ski across the difficult steep pitch that's caught out many on this first of 2 runs here today. I have to say, Malbun here in Liechtenstein have done a brilliant job in preparing the piste for this race. Tomčić fails to qualify, 3.08 off the pace of Popovic. Leona Popovic still our leader, and she sets the fastest time at this first run at 44.03. Alizi Dahon. Dahon? 70, bib number 70. Such a big French squad here today, and poised to strike, 3 of them in the top 10 heading into the second leg. But for Alizi, that is a DNF.
Yeah, just getting caught a little bit by the rut and the rhythm change there as it went into the combinations. It happens so quick in slalom.
71 is Nadine Hundiger. Making sure she loads that ski right at the top of the turn to work with the rut. Britt's been explaining that you have to sort of be in harmony. The rut has to be your friend, not your enemy. Otherwise, it will spit you out of the challenge so quickly.
Yeah, across the flats here, setting nicely over her feet. There's the tricky combination as you enter this steep section and just getting caught out. The airs are coming, but that's a quick recovery. She's back in the course. She's still going. Oh, and there's another little error, causes her to go wide on the turn.
Those 2 costly mistakes will keep her out. It was a good split time, 3.98, 50th position. From Austria to Switzerland, Amelie Klopfenstein, also a DNF. Tough conditions now for the later racers and lower ranked skiers. Gwyneth Tendra, skiing for Luxembourg.
On the top here, we can see that groove that's starting to form. And it is a blend of knowing that it's there, adjusting your tactics, but also just deciding in your head, I'm going anywhere, I'm going for it. I'm going to step in the rut, and I'm going to charge my way down this track. But when the mistakes come, it's hard to make that quick recovery and get back into them. There's just a recovery and an error on that steep section and using too much speed.
You can see from the halfway split, 2.33 off the pace. And the Luxembourg racer, 5.82 behind Popovic, 53rd position. Local skier here, Madeleine Beck, for the Liechtenstein Ski Association. They've had some amazing skiers over the years, if you go back in time. Hanni Wenzel, Tina Weirreiter, to Olympic medalists. Of course, Hanni Wenzel, World Cup champion, world champion, Olympic champion. Liechtenstein's most famous female skier. But Madeleine fails to qualify for the second run. Let's get back to the top of the race piste here in Malbun. Christina Jakobsen. Nice technique from the young Norwegian. Trying to strike the balance of getting that ski to bend, flex and turn in the rut, but also straighten out the line. I like this technique, Britt.
Yeah, she's skiing very nicely here on these opening turns. The flats creating good speed, keeping that balance over the middle of the ski, over her feet there. Very nice tactics as she transitions into the steeps. And is picking up that rut earlier. Oh, and that's an unfortunate straddle on the combination in the middle of the pitch.
That is such a shame. The 76 is quickly away for the German team. This is Isabella Schmelmer. Schmelmer.
Yeah, a few little errors here across the flats. But but that's to be expected with these conditions, the changing conditions, the later start number. It's all about how quick can you recover, can you minimize the errors and get back into the rhythm, get back into that balanced position over your skis.
It would be something quite sensational now to see one of these skiers make the cutoff for the second leg. Top 30 is the target. A 56th position for the young German skier. This is Giorgia Colom, Italian skier.
Oh, those were some quick turns. Very good rhythm. Really dynamic for the skis. You can see the speed that she's almost creating as she exits the turn. So this upper section was very strong. Can she change her tactics? Oh, no, no.
What a shame, because this young lady was on track to qualify. Lovely technique, very fast, but not quite getting there. Spain are next on course. Arieta Rodriguez Lezogi. Spain also enjoying refound form on the World Cup Tour, particularly with their male skiers. I love this story. Noel Baxter, Scottish coach, great friend of Britain and mine, is working wonders with the Spanish men's team. We haven't seen the women's team find form since Carolina, great friend of yours, Brit.
Yeah, it was really fun racing alongside Carolina Ruiz Castillo. It'd be really good to see the Spanish women's team build some strength and see some depth. They have some excellent mountains, great skiing, so it's well within their capabilities.
And here's a classic example of me showing my age. Paco Ochoa won the Olympic slalom gold in Sapporo back in 1972. Paquito, they used to call him back in the day. When I was a young lad, he was a superhero of mine, and they used to call him Mr. Dynamic. He was so quick and fast over the ski. Just a few to go now, Brit, as Victoria Oliver for the Austrian team picks up a DNF. That breakaway now is becoming incredibly difficult to deal with. Krajewska from Poland is next on course. It's an accomplishment just to finish this first run. I like the fact that they didn't need to use any water injection. It's natural winter snow, which I think is important as part of the learning curve for these B-Tour racers. And again, Daria, a DNF. Did not finish. Just got caught a little too footed in the rut. A balance issue there for the Polish skier. Nora Hall wears bib 81 for the Norwegian team. Three Norwegians starting back to back here.
Well, moving quick through these opening gates, that rut, you can really see it's almost creating a little, that edge at the gate. But she's managing this well, keeping that good grip on the outside ski. So that means she's able to decide when she starts the turn. Oh, and that's the unfortunate error. Coming into that steep section, there's a combination set right at the end of the flats, and you have to make that adjustment and get the grip on the new ski on that left gate that we see there. And we can also see that there's a good rut and groove that is built up on that gate.
Let's stay with Norway. Bjorn Skard wears 82, 85 on the start list for this first run. And these young Norwegian skiers showing solid technique. Coaches need to play their part now and just put them on their guard for that very difficult breakaway and rollover. Bjorn Skard here, 2.24 off the pace. You see the red graphic tells us that she's quite a way down, and there's another gun on that breakaway.
Bib number 82.
And the last of the trio, almost at the end of the race from Norway, is Yellem, Thea Emilia Yellem. She's gone before she even gets to that tough gate.
Yeah, a little bit late and low in the line, so that late line doesn't allow you to pick up the rut, and the rut has thrown her out of the course.
Lien Bonder for Latvia is next on course. Of course, Zenifera Gemen of Latvia won the first two Europa Cup slaloms of the season and is now an established star on the Women's World Cup Tour, as well as winning gold in the World Junior Championships in Port du Soleil a couple of weeks back. So Bonder, like many of the Latvian Alpine athletes, has found a new lease of life and confidence, with Gemen proving that it can be done.
Yeah, really incredible to see. I think Jenny almost surprising herself, with those results. But as we said, these smaller nations, now they have the belief. The other racers that are out there trying to do it themselves, they see a little spark.
And the last racer here in Liechtenstein is one of the Liechtenstein youngsters, Christina Buller. We will take this course down, set a new pattern of turns for the second leg. 30 have qualified. Top 30 will go in reverse order. Sadly for Christina, as the last runner of the first leg, she goes down, picks up a DNF against her name. Very tough conditions for the later numbers, but a very exciting first run in the first of this double slalom here in Malbun, Liechtenstein, on the Women's Europa Cup Tour. Let's quickly bring you up to date with the standings after the first run. Popovic has a quarter of a second plus advantage over Lemur. Bondinelli on track for a PB third. Tying for fourth position, Chevrier and Schlocker. Charlie Guest of the British ski team is in sixth position. Brechet, slalom tour leader Good, is lying eighth. Vestov and Stoffel making up the top 10. Working our way through. Let's have a close look at those that qualified for the second leg. Great to see the Hungarian Ski Association with Zita Tot in the mix. Rosa Pojalainen all the way down to 30. Maya Varushitz of Austria is the 30th qualifier, but we have Andorra, Belgium, to name but a few of the smaller nations that have skied exceptionally well to earn themselves a second run challenge. And of course, a second run shot at one of the big stars from the Women's World Cup Tour, and that is, of course, Leona Popovic. She looked like a major player on the World Cup circuit. She's already picked off a podium on the Audi FIS Ski Racing World Cup Tour in Levy. She's come back to this Europa Cup race just to build a little bit of confidence, try a few setup changes with the equipment. And for me, Leona Popovic looked exceptional this morning, and it will take something very special to stop the Croatian winning the first of the two slaloms here in Malbun, Liechtenstein. Now the second leg will start at 1 p.m. local time here in Malbun, that's Central European time. Let's have a quick look at those top three in slow-mo. Mondinelli, third position for Mondinelli, and she'll be looking for her first slalom podium on the Europa Cup Tour of the season. Marie Lemieux, again, third in the Meyerhofen Giant Slalom. But Leona Popovic, we were very excited when we saw Leona's name on the start list this morning, along with Andrea Schlocker of Slovenia. Beautiful technique and a wonderful opportunity for a lot of the women on the Europa Cup Tour to see Leona in top gear and in great form here. Look how she just absorbs and then drives the turning ski in slow motion here, where many suffered a high number of DNFs on that gate in particular. But Popovic was the class act, and it's tough to bet against her on the second run, even though this is slalom skiing, of course. So that brings us to the end of our coverage from the first run. Quick reminder, 1 p.m. is the start of the second leg here, Central European time. Britt and I will be live on air just a few moments before. So there is the finish order, I should say. Popovic, Lemieux, Mondinelli, Chevrier,